Hello everyone, my name is Colin. This is my workshop. Today, something very different. We have this table, it's got one leg is off already, and it needs to be kind of restored and fixed up a bit. So that's our project that we're going to tackle today. It's not going to be a long one, I don't think. So we will see how it goes. So please join me. So it looks like it's been repaired a few times. See, there's a little block put in there. Also, if you look at the tabletop, so yeah, the surface is not wonderful, so that will need to be refreshed. So let's see what we can do. So I don't know where this is from, but it's definitely not original. I'm going to first take this whole skirt off. So this piece at the back, to me, doesn't look original either. Some screws in there as well. Maybe why that block wasn't moving. There we go. We've got all the screws out and everything is loose except here, and it looks like it's been glued to the tabletop. So I'm going to try and loosen that glue around there just to get this whole thing off. Okay, this is loose. Okay, there's some pins there. Okay, these ones are out. So we've drilled these holes out. This whole thing is apart. Look at this, the whole thing is broken. Okay, this is still intact. It's really solid in there. So this glue is really rock hard. Yeah, so water will soften ordinary wood glue, but you do get waterproof glues. I'm going to leave it for a while to kind of soak, and then we'll come back and try it. So while we're waiting for that glue to soften, let's see what we can do here. So this, I'm going to try and glue back into place. This piece broke off here, like that. So there's not much wood holding this leg together. So these bits, they all fit here. This piece mates in with that. But to try and get them off here, I'm going to just soak it in my magic potion. A bit too much. Just going to soak it in there. It's definitely softer. Loose. There we go. Okay, so we've got that off. So I seem to have lost my microphone here, but basically what I'm showing you is that this is a part that's broken which needs to be repaired, and the center part is so solid with glue there's no ways I'm going to take it apart, and I'm thinking of just using some resin and really solidifying everything, getting it into all these little grooves on the corners and so on. So that's what I'm about to do, but obviously it will need to dry out because it's still a little bit damp from when I was trying to loosen the glue. Alright, so here I'm just going to do a glue up. Okay, so we've got it clamped in both directions now, and that's about it. I'm going to leave that to dry. Alright, so this has been soaking for quite some time, and if I look at this glue, it hasn't done anything. It's not really any softer. It's still quite hard if you feel the little lumps of glue on the edges here. So for me, I think there's no ways I'm going to get this off, and the best I'm going to do now is just try and clean it up a little bit on the edges, and we'll take it from there. So here I'm just drilling out the dowels. If I put this joint together with resin, I'd like the resin to actually go into the dowel holes. what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this whole piece back in here, and I mean there's lots of broken pieces and missing stuff, so I may have to fill in with a bit of resin afterwards. Alright, let's go. So this is the setup. I've got this diagonal clamp going across just to hold it square. There's the joint. Right. Let's see. So it's not perfect, but at least it's fairly solid now, and I think if we fill up these gaps with some resin, that's pretty good. This side is very fragile. It's just hanging on by a tiny bit. This I'm going to get into there. Okay. Now I have to get this piece in there and this piece in here. Okay. I'll take that clamp off because I do want this to be flat. What I'm thinking is I'm going to put a strap around everything. Okay, so the strap I think is pulling everything nicely together. Do a final check. So everything is nice and square. So there's the joint, it's nicely squeezed closed. Oh, you can't really, the strap is in the way now, you can't see the joint here. Okay, so this has been drying for quite a few hours. I'm actually going to just move it off this table. So you can see there's a crack here. It's the next morning. What's going on here? So this crack is closed up on the top, but still a little bit open underneath here. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so everything is glued up, but I mean these joints, I'll bring that up closer, these joints are not great. And if you look at that, there's a huge cavity here. So I think that this piece of wood must have been put in some time afterwards. I mean, it's obviously a different species anyway. So I think these joints on both sides, and even the front one, I'm going to fill up with resin. I fill the big cavities with a bit of wood and fill up with resin just to give them some strength, because there's nothing left, there's nothing to hold this together. Yeah. So before I can put resin in, I have to kind of make some sort of a reservoir to stop the resin running out. So I'm going to use some masking tape and mask off these holes on all sides, so that when I pour the resin in, it can fill all the little gaps and little cracks and things. But what I have found is that masking tape on its own doesn't seem to hold the resin in. The resin has a way of working its way under the masking tape and it comes off. So I'm thinking I'm going to use some hot glue, put some hot glue all the way around, and then put a piece of masking tape on that. Something like that. So let me just go around all of them and do that, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I think I've got this pretty well sealed up all the way around. This one, same. So hopefully between the glue gun and the masking tape, we've got a little sealed container that I can put the resin in. So there's brown and black, and I'm going to mix it up in this little cup. Alright, so I'm going to be letting this resin run in, and I'm going to be checking for leaks before I fill it up completely. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that for a while to let that resin really sink down into the holes. And if it's all nicely sealed off, I'll mix up some more and fill it up completely. It all seems to be holding. I'm going to bring you up closer. So this could do with some more resin still, so there's a lot of gap there. This one is not bad, almost full. This one is full right up. So now it's just a matter of topping up every so often as it sinks in and leaving it to set. So we will be back tomorrow. Okay, so it's now the next day. The resin is set. And I had a few leaks that I patched up with the hot glue gun. Okay. Okay, I think that is about it. 400 grit. I'm using the sandpaper almost like just to clean it down, because it's hardly taking anything off, but any little knobs and bits of paint spots and things like that, it comes off with this 400 grit. So now, Scotch-Brite pad just to smooth it off nicely. So this is just a polywax sealer that I'm just putting on. Okay, I'm going to just let that dry off. And I need to do the top as well. Okay, I think I've kind of got all the most of the stains. There's still a mark here, but I think when we put the finish on, that will disappear. I'm going to just let that dry and then maybe rub on another coat. So this is an emboyer stain, and I just thought I would need to get something on here just to darken it a little bit, just so that it doesn't stand out so wildly. You know, it's not exactly the same color, but I think it just takes some of the contrast away. Okay, so I've put another 2 coats on. I'm just going to let that dry. Okay, it's the next day. This is dried off nicely. Definitely going to need another coat and just a very light skim just to get all the little nits off. This part is looking pretty good as well. Okay, I'm going to actually put this table together now. Okay, I think it's all done. I'm just going to give everything a rub with a Scotch-Brite just to smooth it off. Okay, I'm going to leave that now to dry. Okay, so I'm going to rub this thing down with my mixture of beeswax and orange oil. So there we go. So those dowels that you're seeing there is actually the resin that came through. here, that was where there was a crack. So this front joint, we didn't really do very much with it. We just strengthened it with some resin. And this joint, was practically completely gone. So this whole top joint part here, it was just a few little bits of wood here and there. So this whole thing is being held together in this corner by resin. But it's really steady. So there it is. Well, thank you for joining me on this video. A little bit different to my usual videos. But please join me on the next one. Thanks for watching.